What's up, everyone? Madluck here. This is going to be my first ever guide-like thing, so bear with me. It's hot in here, so I have my fan on. Hopefully you can hear me over that. And due to any lack in fancy equipment, this is all being done in one take, so hopefully you guys can hear me throughout all of this. I hope to explain synergy to everyone. Most people have no idea why they gain the amount of synergy they do for certain moves. Hopefully by the time I'm done, you'll understand why Gengar gains synergy incredibly slower than Shadow Mewtwo does, or whatever other character examples you want to use. So here we go. So to start off, first shout out to Dount, I don't know, his name is Dount, but he has already done a very complex write-up guide on synergy, so you should definitely go check that out. I'll leave a link in the description. I'm basically summarizing what you need to know from there. But I'm not going to touch on everything, so if you're interested in figuring out what he does and how he maximizes his synergy, I would definitely go check that out. So to start off, every character has a synergy class value. These class values are not unique to anyone except for Mewtwo, because Mewtwo has the highest synergy gain in the game. I'll post the characters' class values in the description. But it's Shadow Mewtwo, Pikachu, Pikachu Libre, and Weavile are all tied for the lowest at 100. Blaziken, Braixen, Charizard, Gardevoir, and Lucario are all tied at 150. Suicune, Chandelure, Machamp, and Sceptile are all tied at 200. Gengar and Garchomp are tied at 250, and Mewtwo is at 400. If you guys have been playing this game long enough, you've probably realized that the characters I listed with lower values have significantly faster synergy gain than the characters such as Mewtwo and Gengar, who take much longer. I'm going to kind of go in depth on why that is and how characters with higher numbers can help mitigate that. So in field phase, every move that you use, every weak move, has a synergy base value. So just throwing out moves will gain you synergy. So on whiff, you'll gain 1 synergy point. On hit, you'll gain 2.5, and on crit, you'll gain 4. On top of that, you also gain synergy from damage. So if you hit, you gain 2.5, and if you crit, you gain 4. But for every character, you'll gain different amounts of synergy points based on how much damage you do. So Weavile's homing attack, for example, does 40 damage, and you will gain an additional 0.1 for every 10 damage that you deal. Gengar, on the other hand, will gain an additional 0.25 for every 10 damage that you deal. It works, there's a formula, you can calculate it, found on Dount's guide, if you want to check. I realized that these numbers seem really small, 0.1, 0.25, but that's because you're not actually gaining all that much synergy from dealing damage. You're gaining synergy from switching phases and from using your supports. For each phase shift from field phase to dual phase, you're gaining 40, and for each phase shift from dual phase to field phase, you're gaining 20. Which is where the bulk of your synergy is really coming from. So now the question becomes, well, how do I build synergy the fastest? And like I just said, you gain the most synergy from switching from field phase to dual phase, and vice versa from dual phase to field phase. So the best way would be to hit with a hard-hitting move in field phase, because you'll gain synergy from damage, as well as the synergy base value, and the synergy from switching phases. And then in dual phase, you're looking for maximum damage, because you're really gaining your synergy from damage, and from the phase shift, you're not gaining from the synergy base value like you are in field. So great, so all I had to do is maximize my damage, right? And then I'll get the most synergy? No, I wish. This is actually different for some characters, such as Mewtwo, because Mewtwo's special side effect is that you will always lose synergy for using Pokemon attacks. And his highest damaging Pokemon attack finisher, is Psystrike. Psystrike, on the other hand, if you're going for synergy, is a terrible finisher because on a Psystrike activation, you are using 45 synergy points and you're going for 400, so that's over 1/10 of what you're trying to do. I will post the rest of Mewtwo's self-synergy drain in the description. But on to other characters. Gengar. Every grab Gengar lands, you will gain 15 synergy. For every Scooby that he does, and he does the full ender, he will gain 12.5 synergy. And for every curse he goes for, he will gain 14 synergy points. For Weavile, for every knockoff he lands, he will drain the opponent of 7 points, and for every taunt he hits with, he will drain them of 14.5 points. On to supports. For Umbreon, you are on hit. If you hit all 10 hits, you're gaining 20 synergy points, and the opponent is being drained of 16. These values are not equal because the opponent is still gaining synergy from taking damage. Because you gain synergy from taking damage, that's why Shadow Mewtwo appears to have the fastest synergy gain in the game, because he's taking his own life to deal damage to the opponent. He is in turn gaining from hitting himself, the opponent, as well as using all the moves and shifting the phase. On to Victini. Victini gives you 15 synergy points, but Victini also gives you a crit buff. So since you have crits, your base value goes up by 1.5 for every hit, and you're also dealing 20% more damage. So you're gaining a lot more synergy if you can keep the momentum up. Then on to Jirachi next. Jirachi gives you 30 synergy points, but you also get the Synergy Enhance buff, which increases the duration of your synergy burst, as well as increasing the attack and defense bonus by 20%, bringing it up to 30% bonus. That brings us to Cresselia. Cresselia we have at 45 synergy points. Cresselia is very hard to test though because you only gain Cresselia once when you're labbing. So it makes it really hard to test. Although you have that nifty, you lose debuffs, but overall I think Cresselia is more suited for characters with lower synergy gains, such as Pikachu, Pikachu Libre, Shadow Mewtwo, over characters like Gengar. Even though Gengar looks like he needs all the synergy, he really benefits more from any of these other three supports, just because Cresselia can only be called once. So as I'm doing this, I pulled up Dount's guide, answers to synergy thing, and I actually found the part on how much damage you take relating to how much synergy you gain. So that is the reason why Shadow Mewtwo is able to gain synergy the fastest, because he hurts himself in all of his moves. I'll post the numbers down below. These are not numbers you can gain in a single game, which is why you can't gain synergy from getting completely bodied. Also, with those little synergy drops that show up on certain stages, if you guys want to know where they spawn on certain stages, there's a guide on Pokken Arena I can also direct you to. I guess I'll leave that in the description. The small drops are worth 1.5 synergy points per thing. The large drop is worth 6, and the pillar that spawns on Dark Coliseum is actually 50 per second. And that's pretty much going to wrap it up. If anyone has any questions, feel free to contact me, because Dount's guide is actually very confusing to look at, although it does have all the answers. It's just a lot of math that you need to understand, and I kind of understand it. So if you have any questions, you can contact me on it, and I'll see you guys all in the lab. What's up, everyone? Mad Luck here.